on again, social media land? It is your resident social media therapist, Demetra Corlew, back with another episode of the Redirect Podcast. Again, what is the Redirect? It's a podcast doing what I love, which is helping people to detect, disrupt, and dismantle negative thinking mindsets, patterns, and behaviors by shedding light, showing love, and sharing resources and tools that we can implement into our day-to-day lives. So with that, today we are going to be talking about business, leadership, just multitasking to the max because that is what our next guest does. And so I know we're going to hop into all kind of different things. So that's why her episode has multiple potentiality here, okay? So on today, we have bomb guest, Miss Nakita Burns Cummings. Okay, let me give you a little bit about her if I bring her on here. So Nakita is a powerful, sought after conference and event speaker, and y'all, she done came to the Redirect on today. She is the author of Getting on Track, a 30-day devotional and journal, co-author of Her Name is Ruth, and a certified personal development coach. So I know she got some gems, okay? And she gonna give it to us for free. So I appreciate her. She coaches, leads, motivates, inspires, and encourages faith-driven women like herself and a few men too to do what they have been created to do. She truly has been blessed with using and leveraging all her gifts and talents for God's glory. A native of Nashville, Tennessee, happily married to the love of her life. That's important when you're happily married, okay? They have two children together and six bundles of joy that came with their happy merger. She likes many things that proper ladies should like, but she loves Hallmark movies. When not fighting inner critics and making the world a better place, she can be found curled up in a corner with a book or getting her nails done. And let me add that she is a finer. Let me hit that again. A finer woman of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. So, with that being said, please welcome Miss Nakita to the Redirect Podcast.
Yay! Thank
Yay!
you. I was like, oh my gosh, this person sounds so cool.
That is you, man. Welcome to the Redirect. I'm so
Thank
excited to have you
you.
here. And I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule because you could be doing a lot of things, which I know you do a lot of things. But the fact that you carved out some time, I appreciate you.
Thank you for asking. I greatly appreciate it. I'm totally excited. I'm proud of you. I'm excited for you for what you're doing. And I think it's just going to be totally awesome. I've already taken my first note. So
You taking? I'm supposed to be taking notes. I got my pen ready, my
I took my first note. You said detect, disrupt, and dismantle. Yes. I'll be
yeah.
using that on my broadcast. Just let you know. All right.
Go right on ahead. Go right on ahead. So I'm just gonna hop right on into it because you do so much. So I want to know how did you kind of fall into the different things that you do and how do you balance it all?
Still working on balancing it. So I must make it look like I'm doing phenomenal with that. All right now. Um, so I've always wanted to, have a business. I've always wanted to do that. But didn't know where to start or how to start it. And then the person that God gave me, the guy that I call my supervisor, uh, he I wanted to do that too. So we started with the t-shirt business that just sort of we stumbled upon it. He had been doing it for a long time and then he got back into it. So we started with the t-shirt business and then went into the soap business because one of our daughters has eczema and the stuff that they were giving us was not working. So he was like, you know what, let's just make some soap. So we did, it worked. And we said, okay, it's some other people that probably need this too, which is why it's called Just You Soap Company, because we're making products for people that have, they want natural products that don't have stuff in it that can jack your skin up basically.
Mhm.
And we make that. So there you go. So I fell into that. And we have just been still really figuring out how to, we've got it now, especially now we're empty nesters. Whoop, whoop. So now that they're gone, we don't have specifically, got to do stuff after school and all this stuff. So we can, balance it out a little bit more. But I make it work where it can. I
Mhm.
pray a whole lot. I take moments to breathe.
Yeah.
And I'm learning now to say no.
Ooh, it's a whole statement.
That a whole thing. I was talking, and I work a 9 to 5, so that means I work the 9 to 5, and then I get off and I work again. So we go to bed late because we're up doing stuff, and we just started something else, which I'm so totally excited about. So we're getting well. He's ready. I'm still working on some of it, but we just got our license to be able to sell insurance, life insurance, but it's so much thanks.
Congrats.
But it is so much more than that because we're trying to free people, show
Mhm.
them that it's more than just having a life insurance policy when you pass away. It's something that you can use as a living benefit, making sure that your family has something. So if you don't want that part of the living benefit, you can at least have your final expenses taken care of. So we're getting into that. So that's a whole thing within itself. So that's something else that I've
Mm.
added to the pot. But just I mean, when you've decided that you're going to do what God has put into you to do,
Mhm.
you make the time and you learn how to balance with
Mhm.
His help, and that's a part of saying no. And I hope I'm not going too far off of what you asked me.
No, go
Because
right ahead on. I told you I got my opinion because I know you do a lot, and I said, mm-hmm. I'm gonna
because
take some notes.
I was listening to and I have to finish this actually, but Anthony O'Neill, and he's actually in Nashville. So he
Mhm.
started out with Dave Ramsey, and now he's kind of splintered off. But he has a podcast. It's on YouTube, and he was interviewing. He talks a lot about basically being financially stable, secure, how you can do that. He talks a lot of entrepreneurs and all those things. But he was talking to, and I do not want to mess her name up, Mignon Francois. She owns the Cupcake Collection,
Mhm.
and she told the story of how she got started. And it was this one part of it, and I just stopped it after she said this. I said, I gotta digest this, I gotta marinate in it
Mhm.
and get myself together. She said that she had so many businesses that she had started and hadn't finished. She just started them and just went on, but she was like, you know what, I don't want to do this no more. She went on. She started, I don't want to do this no more, and go on. And she said that when she got this, when it came to her, when God put it in her for the Cupcake Collection, He told her, now, I'm not going to give you anything else if you don't do this,
Mm.
because I've given you business idea after business idea and you've done nothing with it. If you don't do anything with this, I'm not doing it again. And when she said that, it hit a nerve. And then this next thing she said just took me out. She said that when God deposits into you, He expects a return on His investment.
Mhm. Mm.
And I was like, whoo. Because how many of us, right? You didn't come up with that idea. I promise you didn't. Whatever the thing is that you're like that it comes to you and it excites you and it sparks you and you're like, that's the thing. You didn't come up with that.
Mhm.
He gave it to you because He's got something that He needs for you to do with the thing. But if you never do anything with it, that means that there's a people that's assigned to you that will never be free. There's
Mhm.
people that are assigned to you that need that product idea that He gave you. There's somebody out there that needs that. And you're just going to sit on it. You're not going to try to figure out what it is you need to do to bring the product into fruition, because whatever. And this, she started out with $5, and now she's a multimillionaire. Her business is up to 10, is makes over $10 million now. And she says she still reinvests the first monies that she had. That's She's still basically putting that same to the side and reinvesting it, into her business.
Yeah.
So you have to start, but you can't. Don't make God regret the investment that He made in you. So
Mm.
that you've got to get out of your own head. And that's part of what I do on the 10 Year Soul broadcast. So on the 10 Year Soul broadcast, I assist game changers. And this even has changed for me. I used to say I assist kingdom women of worth and some men too with changing the language they speak to and over themselves and all of this. And then it came to me, wait a minute, when you say that, you're limiting. Not
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not talking about kingdom women of worth, because if you're, that's right. But what I mean is that it's everybody. I'm not specifically talking to women. I am a woman, and if I talk to you and you feel it, awesome. But
Mm-hmm.
if there's some men out there, I don't want them to think they can't come to my broadcast or buy my book because I'm a woman or because that's
Right.
all who I'm talking to. No, because I want everybody to be free. Everybody. If that's
Mm-hmm.
who got that, yeah. So I assist game changers with adjusting the language they speak to and over themselves, as well as their
Yeah.
situations, using the word of God and the principles of God. So that's what I do. So now, adding to that, we're putting action with it, right? Why are we
Mm-hmm.
putting action with it? Because I was reading my listening to my scriptures for the day one day. James 14. No, James 4:17. This, I was like, oh my gosh. He says, last verse in this chapter, and he says, it is a sin for you to know what to do and not do it.
Mm.
I was like, oh my goodness. Now I heard
Mm.
that scripture before I heard Miss Francois of the Cupcake Collection, but they actually go
Yeah.
together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So God has put an investment in you. He expects a return. Well, how
Mm-hmm.
are you going to do the return? You're going to take action.
Right.
You're going to have to get up off your laurels and do the thing, right? Listen to what your podcast is needed, because there's some people that may not seek you out. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're doing this podcast, they're going to watch this, and then they may say, you know what, I want to do a one-on-one with her because I need a little bit more. Well, they needed it, but they didn't know. They didn't know how. They didn't know how to reach out. So there are some people that we're supposed to be reaching. And if we don't do the thing, they're
Mm-hmm.
never going to be reached. They'll never know.
Child, I'm trying not to run up in here and knock my chair over and all that good stuff because I'm like, oh my gosh. I didn't have my basket fully ready to catch all these gems, all these jewels that you spilled out here. Cause oh, I'm just digesting and chewing on everything that you just said because you're right. There are so many people that I'm sure are sitting on the secret sauce, the recipe, the game plan that somebody is waiting for because somebody has to go ahead of you in order to get the game plan to give it to you.
Yep.
Right? So
Right.
I'm like, man, but if everybody were doing the thing, that you were purposed to do, I could only I my brain can't even fathom
Mm-hmm.
what all that would look like, which kind of lead me into my next question for you then, because I'm like, even with that and with you coaching and redirecting language and shifting, because when you shift language you shift mindsets,
Right.
because
Right.
our language is rooted in a mindset.
It is.
What would you say is the hardest thing about shifting the language?
Accepting the fact that you have a problem. I mean, like, I mean, so here's how this came about. So, when you go through the process of becoming a coach, you get coached, and
Hmm.
you have to do modules, right? And you have to ask yourself the questions for you to be able to figure out what your thing is, because you have to figure your thing out in order to know how to help somebody else. So as we were going through the modules we were doing, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so I have a problem with the inner critic. I have a problem of, I've never had an issue without people outside of me saying, oh my gosh, I know you can do this. I believe in you. Pushing me to do things. But on the inside, I was like, girl, I don't even know why you doing that. You
Mm.
can't do that. You don't look like they look. Your hair not like they look. You big. You not as cute as they are. I mean, all of this, like seriously, all of this
Yeah.
is going on. Like, you're not worthy. Why do you even think somebody gonna listen to you? And so, but I'm doing this personal development thing, trying to become somebody's coach. And so I said, oh my gosh, I have this problem. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and slay you Goliath
Wow.
before you get any bigger. So let me go ahead and put a word on that. I am worthy because God said I am.
Mhm.
No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I know the weapon's going to form, but it's not going to prosper. You know,
Right.
all of my needs are going to be, met because of, who Christ Jesus is. I'm really paraphrasing that, but God's blessed me in stature and appearance because that's what he said about Daniel. So if he said it about Daniel, then I know he's saying it about Nakita. So I look the way that I need to look in order to reach who I need to reach. And then go ahead and put on top of this, Lord God, let people see you when they see me. Help me to look the way you need for me to look so I can be received the way you need for me to be. I mean, that whole thing. So
Yeah.
while I'm going through the process of becoming a coach, I'm getting freed from that. So I
Mhm.
said, that's my thing, right? If I had this issue, there's some people out there that have this issue, and I need to tell them this is how you break free of it. Understanding that even though you slay the Goliath and you break the broken record of being unworthy and whatever it is, that as you go from one level to the next, there's old Satan. There's the
Mhm.
minion, the inner me, as Bishop Walker put it. The enemy oftentimes is the inner me. The inner me is there trying to bite you back down and tell you, no, girl, don't do that. You can't do that. That's not what you're. No.
Right.
Yes, I can. If he told me I can do it. I'm going to prepare myself. I'm going to do the thing. And even if it's not perfect, I'm going to go ahead and do it because if I don't, I'll never know. And I'll never do what he said. Jonah, could you please just go do what I asked you to do? I didn't ask you to worry about how people are going to receive it. I asked you to just go tell the message and then I worry about it. You worried about whether or not I'm going to get the people. Did I tell you to worry about where I was going to get the people? I'm in the Bible, y'all, just in case you didn't know. I'm really paraphrasing it, but this really is what Jonah did. He
Yeah.
was like, I knew you weren't going to get them people. God had to tell him, hey, they belong to me. I just asked you to deliver a message. All he asked you to do was
Yeah.
deliver the message. He gave you the thing to do. All you got to do is do it. If they don't receive it, Jesus said, dust your feet off. If you go there and they don't receive it,
Mhm.
dust your feet off. But give the message, do your part. So God can then give you the next part of what he needs for you to do. So you can have the expected end that he has for you. So I had to learn that for myself in order to know that there's some other people that need that as well.
Oh,
That's
I
how much
love
I
it.
did
Yes.
it.
Yes, you did. I love it. There I think everybody at some point in time experiences that negative inner self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
We call them cognitive distortions, and it
Oh, I'll write
just
that down. Okay,
yeah,
cognitive
cognitive
distortions.
distortions in therapy. That's what we call it, cognitive distortions, because there's so many of them. Because sometimes we disqualify the positive, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what I often hear. Like, because we can say, "Oh, it's such a beautiful outside." Oh, but you didn't feel that wind whipping. But
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Right. Right. Right.
yeah, or we minimize, or just so many that we do. And so I love that you hit on that, and essentially we have to be aware of that within ourselves and be like, okay, I noticed that,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to shift the way in which I'm thinking about something, or how, like you said, how you saying something. I love how your Texas language transformation coach, because reframing it makes such a difference. I had a client
Mm-hmm.
who was speaking to me, and they're like, oh, I got a $500 car bill and I can't pay my car note. And I'm like, well, let's reframe that, because when we speak in the negative, we shut our brain off from finding solutions.
Right.
So
Right.
we can
Right.
say, okay, instead of saying, well, I can't pay my car note, say, how can I pay it?
There you go.
So that you start generating
Right.
those solutions. And so let me ask you this though, in the midst of doing that own inner self work and
Mm-hmm.
other things in which you do, what would you say has impacted your mental health the most in being a coach and being in business and the other avenues?
Um, being a champion of myself. So this is what I've had to also and I've dealt with this on my broadcast and I still say it. But self-care is not selfish. There's a difference between being like narcissistic and selfish, not caring about other people's feelings, only looking out for making sure that you're good and never doing things that I don't care how you end up, how you feel, only me, only me, only me. Not that way.
Mhm.
Self-care meaning, okay, this thing is happening externally outside of me, but if I do this, if I say yes and I do it, then I have to deal with the consequences of how I feel after, how I feel up here, how I feel in my heart, how it's going to just make me feel, period. We have to take care of that, because the two things that Jesus left us was, in as far as the law goes, he said they all encompass this: to love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and to love your neighbor as yourself. So what I focus on a lot, basically, without, I say this at the end of the broadcast, but really what we're talking about the whole time is loving your neighbor as yourself. It's the B part of that. You have to love yourself. You cannot love other people properly if you don't love yourself. If I don't speak to myself properly, the same thing I'm saying to me, I'm going to say to somebody else. And if I
Facts.
don't, yeah, if I don't like what I'm saying to me, can you imagine how you're going to make somebody else feel if you say it to them? If you, the reverse part of that is you're an encourager of everybody else, but you never have an encouraging word for yourself. And that is where I was. I never had, I can encourage you until the moon turns pink. But I was not able to find on a consistent basis encouraging words for myself. And I would be able to be good, and I'd be up and I'll be doing, and then all of a sudden I can't even tell you what happened. Something would happen. I'd be like, you know what? Nah, let me just, I would shrink back. And we can't shrink back from our greatness, because God's put something great inside of us, and we can't do that. David, he didn't try to be great. He just was. David was who he was. And he didn't shrink back from who he was, because he knew who God was. Because that's what he told Goliath or that's what he was telling them when he went up to he was supposed to just be taking his brothers the food. That was it. And then he heard Goliath. He was like, "Who is this? Who is this Philistine? Taunting the army of the living God." And they were like, "Go home. That's why we didn't want you up here. Go home." He was like, "No, no, no. He taunting God. You got to be like that to yourself and other. You have to be able to say, hey, hold on. God's put something great inside of me. If I can't fight for me, then let me at least represent Him." And that's scripture too. When you do your work, you should be doing it like you're doing it for God. Whatever it is that you need to do inside yourself, because I can encourage you externally, I can give you the tools, but if you never use the tools, Noah, you'll never build the ark. You will drown in the flood, because you didn't use the tools that you were given. You didn't use the blueprint to build the ark so that so you and your family could get to safety. Because how can you save your family if you can't save yourself? And I've heard this analogy over and over again, and it just came to me to say it like this. They tell you on an airplane, put the oxygen mask on yourself first, because you can't help anybody else if you're struggling to breathe. How can you help your children to breathe if you're struggling? You don't know what to tell them to encourage them to do good in school. You don't know what to tell them. Keep going. I know it seems hard right now, but it's going to get better. And it's pray and act, and not act just frivolously, just doing stuff to be doing it. No, do with intention. How can you tell somebody that if you're not doing it?
Oh my goodness. Facts. True. If I could put my little fire emojis up here, I I sure would, because it, a we can't play small. I feel like, at times we may have played small, but I feel like COVID kind of helped show people, hey, it time to play small is over, because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people started building businesses and doing
Mm-hmm.
things that they weren't doing previously. So I love how you brought that about not playing small up, and also too about that we need to be intentional and put some action to it.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in the shower this morning, it's where I do some of my best thinking, so to say.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I was chatting with God, because it's like, okay, God, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And sometimes we may build some hesitancy because we feel as though we don't have everything we need.
Mm-hmm.
And so he reminded me of a saying that Dr. Elisa Harney says all the time. And she says, well, if you give them what's in your heart, they'll give you what's in their hand.
Mm.
If you give them what's in your heart, they will give you what's in their hand. And so essentially, if you are giving what it is, that purpose, then you're going to get everything that you need as far
Right.
as resources and
Right.
provision.
Right.
So I just love how you brought all that up. So, and also too, to segue into another question that I have for you, and that is, what would you say to anybody debating whether or not they're really going to step into the purpose, whether or not they're really going to align with the assignment, whether or not they're no longer going to play small or not? What would you say?
Right. So if you're debating, I would say to um, let your purpose win the debate. Oftentimes and I, we know what our purpose is. It's that thing, and this is the question they ask you, right? If you're getting coached, what's the thing that you would do for free? Mm-hmm. That's your purpose. So then your next thing is, okay, who gonna pay me for that? Somebody's gonna pay you for it. because if that's the thing you do for free, that means somebody needs it. Mm-hmm. And some of us are doing the thing for free already, and we're not getting paid for it. And then those people that we're doing it for already are going out and making hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's just the truth of the matter. Mm-hmm. But you sitting here doing it for free. Quit discounting yourself. Right now, I'm not saying come out the gate charging, whatever. What I'm saying is come out of the gate knowing that this thing that you're offering, it is premium, right? It is worth something. Even if you don't have all the kinks out, there are people, if you buy the books and you go through the courses for online master classes, these people are telling you, don't worry about whether you even have the class together yet. Don't worry about that. Do you have a working title? It don't even have to be what the actual title of the class is going to be. Do you have a working title? And do you have the premise of what it's going to be? Start doing your Facebook Lives. Don't give it all away. Just enough to literally grab somebody's attention, charge you, figure out what your target price is. Start out. This is what you do. I'm telling you. This is what, right? Okay. So now I am working on my masterclass. Almost finished with it. Now all I got to do is the videos. But here we go. So all you do, you charging, $97. No. You say it's $97. This is what people do. Y'all know this, but you don't really know. It's a psychology thing. So they're saying it's $497 value, and I'm just doing $97. If it's something that someone needs, they're going to pay the $97. Mm-hmm. What is your target goal? They don't even have this stuff together, y'all. They're selling and they ain't got it together. A lot of them don't have it together yet. And then you have a date, you give yourself the time, and then you create this thing. Now, I'm not saying charge people $97 and have trash. No, I'm not saying that. Not definitely. But what I'm saying is that you have to get started because it's in you already. There are so many people. If you already do Facebook Lives, if you've had conversations with people, they ask you for advice and it's like actual sound advice, go back to the advice you gave. Not necessarily take the question they asked, take the answer you gave, write this stuff down. That's a book. Number one, that's a book. Do you know how I wrote my first book? That book, the Devotion and Journal, that is from Instagram posts. I had posted on Instagram all this stuff, and I just started going back and looking. I was like, that's a book. Mm-hmm. It came to me. I was like, that's a devotional. I literally went back through my Instagram. I got all of this stuff, the stuff that I wrote, and I put God's word to it because that's where it was inspired from anyway. Mm-hmm. And I did the devotional. It is not rocket science. And I did it myself. Now I hired an editor to read over it for that part, but I published it myself on KDP. So you start, you do the work. You do your research. Yeah. You write the stuff down. You write that, take your notes, write it down, and you do it. And nobody's looking for perfection. There is stuff out there. I've read books that I've paid, good money for. I'm like, they misspelled this word right here. They needed the, and it ain't, the word's not even there. I mean, so you have to just go ahead and get started. We're not perfect. So it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be some kinks, and that's okay. You look at the kinks, you say, oh my gosh, I did this and I should have did that. So when you do it again, you do the thing that you're supposed to do, but you will never know what you need to do if you never get started.
That is so true.
That's it. Look at what David has. He tried to put on Saul's stuff. Saul's stuff didn't fix it. Hold on. Let me use what I use out here when I'm in the field, because you
Mm-hmm.
already got it. Quit trying to put on other people's stuff. That's for them. It's not for you. He took off Saul's armor. He had his bag of stones and that sling. He hit Goliath in the head and knocked him out. And then he went and got Saul's sword and chopped his head off. After he got him down with what
Mm-hmm.
he already had in his hand. After you do with what you got in your hand, God will provide the other thing you need, the sword, to do the rest of the job, whatever the rest of the job is. But if you never use what you got in your hand, you'll never
Right.
get to the sword.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm glad too that you brought up charging. Charge your worth. Charge your
Yes.
worth. It's okay to profit. It is okay to profit.
Yes. There are people, okay, I'm not going to say no names, but there's somebody out here that had a real estate school, charged these people all this money. The real estate school went bankrupt, and those people can't do nothing with whatever it was that they got. They can't do nothing with it. You know, you out here selling steaks, and the steaks were trash, and that business went bankrupt. So there's people out here that have trash products, and I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be fun. I'm just
Yeah.
saying it is what it is. They have trash products. They are not doing the job properly with their coaching, whatever it is, but they get money. I just saw a
Mm-hmm.
post about that actually the other day. It was on Instagram. I think it was a reel. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
the person said. There are people out here charging money for things who don't even have half the skill you got. You
Mm-hmm.
got it and won't even do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to up here. You've got this thing. You got to transform your language. Be renewed. What is it? I always flub the scripture up. But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta get it in your. You got to get in your mind that if all you do is wake up every morning, say, God, thank you for waking me up. I know I'm your favorite. Start somewhere. Because if I'm your favorite, then that means I'm doing some things right. So do
Mm-hmm.
the things that you know that are right, and whatever it is you need to change, because there's some things you need to change. Step back from yourself and say, you know what, that's trash. I need to change that.
Right.
that's not serving me in where I'm trying to go to. There's an awesome version of me, and in order for me to show up as that awesome version of me, there's some stuff I need to change in me now that I know is jacked. Let me go ahead and change it and do
Yeah.
the redirect. And go ahead and be the person that I know that God desires for me to be.
Yes. Yes. See, I got a page full of notes, and I'm gonna have to watch the replay to go back and get the things that I knew I couldn't write that fast. So I appreciate every nugget that you have dropped here on the redirect on today. But before you go,
Yes.
I got a little game that I've entitled "What's the Move."
What's the move? Oh.
What's the move? Easy breezy though. Easy
Okay.
breezy.
Okay.
All right. Thanksgiving or Christmas? What's the move?
Oh, Christmas. You know why? I have to
Why?
tell you why. See, this is why you got to figure out for yourself and learn to say no when you don't want to be bothered. I
Mhm.
mean, and I'm not trying to be, but when you don't,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is so that everybody wants you to come to their house. You got to split your time. I have to split my time. Split
Mhm.
my time, all this. You want me to make a dish and all that. You know what we do? We used to do Christmas like that too, but now we stay at home.
Mhm.
I'm like, if you Christmas, we don't see anybody, and we do brunch. And we started in the last year or two, we do brunch.
Okay.
So by 1 o'clock, we're done. Y'all at home, we at home, taking the tree down. Oh, if we put up one, we're taking the tree down. Yeah, all of that. So yeah, Christmas definitely
Christmas.
because it's
Okay.
more laid back for me. Yeah.
Okay. So snow or rain? What's the move?
Oh my gosh, rain. I'm not a snow person. You know, it's
Mhm.
cool. Oh, it's cute. Yeah, no.
I see. Okay. Okay.
Nah.
Last one, which I kind of got an idea what you're probably gonna say, but we gonna see.
Uh-oh.
So going to the movies or streaming at home? What's the move?
Oh, we're streaming at home.
I knew it.
Especially now because of the vid. Before the vid, oh yeah, we're definitely going to the movies. But now because of the vid, I'm good.
Yeah.
Now I will stream. Yeah, and so most of the movies that are on the streaming platforms. First of all, if you wait a day or two, it'll be on the streaming platform,
True.
depending on the movie. And some of them are better than what they're
Mhm.
putting out in the movies. So
Mhm.
yeah, these days streaming.
I got you. I understand. I understand. Well, I appreciate you indulging me and what's the move in those areas for you. But tell the people where they can find you.
So, if you would like to follow, please feel free to follow me on the local Facebook at Tending Your Soul. So on Facebook, it's Tending Your Soul Academy. And then on the Instagram, it is Tending Your Soul. So, yes, feel free to follow me. And every day, Monday through Friday, on Facebook, there is the Tending Your Soul broadcast where I do the thing that I do. So please feel free to join, follow, like, and definitely share out with anyone that you feel may need to, tend their soul. There you go. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nikita, again for dropping by the Redirect podcast and bringing all the nuggets as you so graciously do on your own podcast and on Tending the Soul. Because I be watching and I caught that episode about the overflowing, your cup overflowing, but we're going to talk about that offline. So, everybody, continue to like, share, follow. Make sure that you're checking out the full episodes on YouTube as well. Social media engagement, please feel free to indulge in it. Well, I like to see the hearts, the emojis, the comments, all that good stuff. Plus, you never know if your comment is going to air on the redirect. So until next time, we love y'all. Peace.